Ben, Patricia. Oh, Steve Morris there.
就是收看中文的朋友，现在还没有点击到中文里面，请你们在 Zoom 的最下面一排那边点击，因为还有7分钟就要开始了。Rinpoche, sorry, I tell them have to choose. Rinpoche,
Yes.
Thank you for change.
Oh, thank
you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, making. Yes, thank you. And here we have Steve and Melissa. Yes. And we have Steve Morris. So we have 3-4 Steves.
That's a lot of Steves.
A lot of Steves.
Go ahead.
Hello, Khenchen. Wonderful to see you.
Yeah, wonderful to see you, Melissa. And we have Simon Leon.
Good morning, Rinpoche.
Good morning to you. And we have Nguyen and Patrick Lee and Paul and Kuncho Pema.
Good morning, Rinpoche.
Good morning to you. And we have Vivo. There's a Pet Ricard.
Good morning, Rinpoche.
Good morning to you. We have Dikung Seattle.
Morning.
Here is the representative from representative Dikung from Seattle.
Yes.
He's representing.
Yeah.
Now, do you have anybody that who leads the opening prayers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jigong Seattle lead the.
Okay, Jigong Seattle. Okay, you lead the opening prayers.
Yeah.
Okay. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. Close. Until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. This ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It's adorned with Mount Meru, the supreme mountain, the four continents, the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offered it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha field. To the lamas who possess the three kayas, I offer the outer, inner, and secret offerings with my body wealth and all the visible. Please grant me the supreme realization enlightenment. Om Guru Deva Dakini Ratna Mandala Pratitsa Soha. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying for the sake of enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma, of the two vehicles, and the practices common to both, according to the dispositions and likewise to the mental capacities of the sentient beings.
Hello, everybody. First, please take a deep breath. Inhale. Fully expand your chest and stomach. And exhale all the stress. Once more, please inhale fully. And exhale. Now, third time, please inhale fully. And exhale. So when your mind is well rested in this way, then please cultivate our altruistic thought to achieve complete enlightenment, Buddhahood, for the benefit of all sentient beings. So this is we're establishing the ultimate objective goal. That the goal we are establishing in such a way that on the base on every sentient beings, you see, desire to free from suffering. So that's the obvious, clear. There's no arguments. There's no need any kind of say reason, you know. Just simply human beings, even animals, insects, we all just desire to free from suffering. That's something innate, born in the mind that we have. And we all desire to have peace and happiness. So as I mentioned all the time, this transcends all the differences. No, this transcends all the dualistic. No, there's no argument. Having said that, this kind of our desire to free from suffering, desire to have peace and happiness, it doesn't come without cause, or from the wrong cause, or from the incomplete cause, you see. It all depends on the causes and conditions. That is the hard part to understand. That requires such great wisdom. No? There's many layers. Some are just imaginary. No? And can translate from different ways. So here, what we're studying is the Buddha's teaching, because Buddha totally, absolutely revealed these causalities. No? So you see, right at the first, Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. You know, we should know the suffering. See, so suffering is something that is a something subject we need to study, investigate of the different layers of the suffering. See, what we are now focusing is just the suffering at the surface, but we don't know the layers of the suffering. So that suffering is the result of something that is called the cause of suffering. So once we know about suffering, that what we don't desire for, since we don't desire for the suffering, now it is very important to take care the cause of suffering. That is our responsibilities. So Buddha said, you should avoid the cause of suffering, you see. If you don't want the suffering, regarding to that, there's no negotiation. See, can I do this much? Or if I don't do this, or I don't believe it, no matter what reason we put, as long as when we created the cause of suffering, the suffering is bound to come. This is very important. This is more difficult to understand than the emptiness. Emptiness is not that difficult. Through the quantum physics theory, we can understand some points. Like when teacher shares about the Mahamudra, Dzogchen, the teachings there, you get a glimpse, you understand. It gives you great joy. But still we are suffering. Why? Because there is a cause that we did not take care of it. So here, what we're discussing is the cause of suffering that we need to take care, purify. See? So this I just want to mention at the beginning. And then, because of this, all what we are studying, practicing, is we are not just, I'm just not talking about what Buddhist philosophy is about. I'm not talking about what Buddhists believe or not believe, but I'm just sharing how to reduce our mental afflictions, mental delusions, you see, is called klesha. To all the mental afflictions, the ignorance, our attachment, desire, aversion, pride, jealousy, so forth. They are the direct cause of our suffering. And that we need to take care by ourselves, individually. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas cannot give blessing. Say, now I give you blessing. All your mental afflictions are now gone. Buddha cannot give that kind of way. So now I will take care of all your mental afflictions. So you don't worry about it. It's not that Buddha is not doing that. It doesn't happen that way. No. So Buddha showed the path. Also, Buddha showed the wisdom how to take care of that. So we individually need to make effort how to purify our own mental afflictions. That's what I mentioned many times. The mind is very complex, very profound, very sophisticated. So this kind of profound, complex, sophisticated, and many layers we can understand. We can just open that up, uncover that through the Dharma study practice. And we need to purify that by ourselves. Bring the Buddha's teaching into us and we purify. Step by step. You see nowadays, everywhere, all over the world, there's so many kind of difficulties people are facing. So much suffering going through. It's all using mental affliction. That those who have power, those who don't have power, who doesn't have wisdom, who are only interested interested self-achievement or goal, and create so much suffering. It's mental affliction, mental klesha. See? So that we individually have the responsibility that we have to work, we have to make effort. As I mentioned, Buddha's teaching is not just a religion, it's not just a belief, but it is the way how to tackle the confusion that we are facing in our daily life. See, individually and in the society at large. You see, look at this. So there's so much teaching, just study, practice that we are now doing this. So now this last Saturday, and this Saturday, we are studying the Tara Supplication. There are 7 verses. We just, I just read 2, you see, last time. The first, it is in the unborn Dharma Dhatu Mater abides the Reverend Mother, the Deity Tara. She bestows happiness on all sentient beings. I request her to protect me from all fears. So see, it was very profound. I just related very kind of say minimum meaning of that. Then second, also we have read, through not understanding oneself as the Dharmakaya, one's mind is overpowered by the glaciers, mental afflictions. Our mother, sentient beings who wander in Samsara. So we have just did that roughly. So please protect them, Deity Tara. So please protect all the sentient beings, Deity Tara. Here, Tara is not just some individual there. It's the wisdom, as I mentioned. So mother here is a wisdom. So wisdom is the very important that we have to manifest. And then wisdom is the way how to purify all these obscurations. From that wisdom, then there is compassion. So wisdom and compassion are the critical method to purify our mental afflictions. So we should not blame to the individuals, but we should blame to our mental afflictions. You see. Just example, no? When there is an enemy, we say, he or she is my enemy. Actually, not that person. The mental affliction that person has, that mental affliction, klesha, is the enemy of that individual person and also to me. Because that mental affliction create all this dualistic suffering. So as soon as when that mental afflictions put aside, is purified, that person is my friend, is my mother. See, it's not enemy. It makes the enemy because of our mental affliction. See, so here I just remind anytime, all the time, when we sit, when we read, when we listen, just look at our mind, what makes us suffering, what suffering is coming from. And then we apply the Dharma. Dharma is the healing. So that's why, so please protect them, Deity Mother. Now next is, if the meaning of Dharma is not born in one's heart, one just follows the words of conventional meaning. Some are deceived by dogma or deceived by tenets, the tenet system. Please protect them, perfect Mother. So today is this one. Now we, Dharma practitioners, we have to understand. He said, if the meaning of the Dharma is not born in one's heart, see, meaning of the Dharma means the meaning of the church, how to purify the mind, how to free from the samsara, how to achieve enlightenment. See, if that is not born in our heart, one just follows this, the word of conventional meaning. See, then, as I mentioned, we just talk. So this is what is Buddhist philosophy is. This is what Buddhists believe. All these things. No. Well, we're interested to free from samsara, but it's underneath. Actually, we're just talking about all this, what they said, what they do, all these things. So to understand that, to born in the Dharma in our heart, you see, this is important. See, as I mentioned, first reflect on the impermanence of all phenomena. Everything is subject of change, changing moment to moment. See, impermanence. Within the state of the impermanence of all the sentient beings, as mentioned, everyone is suffering. From the God realm to the hell realm. See, we just look at this. Rich people, many people admire those who are rich, famous, but they are suffering so much also. So we all are suffering in different ways, not just one, but different ways we are suffering. So look at this. Then everything constitutes, as I mentioned, within the framework of the causality. Everything is manifestation of the cause and conditions. So how everything manifests from their cause and conditions. And there are many causes and conditions, not just one. Reflect on this. So seeing that nature, then how we can be free from this? So we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Means, so I rely on the Buddha's wisdom and the teaching as the path that I follow. And the Sangha as a companion which inspire each other, helping each other. So that's what I call taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. With that, then as I mentioned, when you see all sentient beings are suffering, then there, you see, we cultivate loving kindness, compassion. Even though everybody has loving kindness, compassion, whether it's emotional or whatever, in a very limited way, all the way, Buddhahood, there is loving compassion. But that's the capital. We know what love is about, compassion is about. So from that capital, then we take advantage, develop, extend, expand to all sentient beings. Then you see, when we do that, then what's the real state where one is free from entire suffering? One achieves the complete peace and happiness. That's the enlightenment, the Buddhahood. So we cultivate bodhicitta. See. So when we do this way, then we're not just following the conventional meaning. but we are following the path. That, it's not just a Buddhist, you see. Everybody can do it, but need a condition, but need interest. Everybody has the responsibility to follow that. Then we're not just caught up in the dogma or tenet system. Here is basically a tenet system. So some are deceived by dogma, tenets. So this school believe these, like say Buddhists believe these things becomes a tenet. Or the Hindus believe these, Christians believe these, Muslims believe these, then this all becomes the tenet system. Then we're caught with that. Even within Buddhists, there are many, like say, Vivashaka, Sautantrika, Chitta Mantra, Madhyamika, each have their different system. So we all, just believe this way, and then we're caught up with that, and then we argue about that. My way is better than others. Instead, we're practicing the Dharma. Instead of purifying our mental afflictions, it becomes such a cause of suffering. That's why Buddha said, when you do this, I better not teach. I taught Dharma teachings to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment, Buddhahood. Not say, this is my school, your school, mine is better than yours. I didn't teach for this purpose. See? So here's Lord Jigten Sungkus asking Tara to give us such great wisdom to free from this. So some are deceived by dogma. Please protect them, perfect mother. So perfect mother means this. None of these dualistic concepts are fully purified. The Tara, the wisdom. So we just need to follow this. When I have desire, attachment, so how should I purify? Instead of say my way is better than yours, so my mental desire, whatever types of desire that I have, look at it and how much it gives me suffering. It doesn't allow me to really relax. And also when I have anger, how much it gives me suffering, pain, and pride, jealousy, so forth. So Buddha's teaching is in such a way is taught how to purify these mental afflictions. Then, when we could purify this, then we can help others. If we cannot purify ourselves from these mental delusions, afflictions, we cannot help others. When it harms others, because since my mind is a dualistic mind, when my mind is very, biased mind, how I can teach to unbiased to others? So we have to first purify our mind. Wherever you are, at your room, at your shrine room, or in the solitude, in your retreat place, wherever you are, our mental afflictions is with us. So that we have to purify using these Dharma methods, meditation. Then we can help bring peace in the world. So then next comes the compassion. So first we have to touch this subject. Without touching this subject, these mental afflictions, where the mental afflictions are under the ground, on the surface, no matter how much we teach love and compassion, how should be so much kind? Very difficult. When there's fire, smoke will come, See, if we extinguish the fire, then the smoke will stop by itself. So we need to touch on these mental afflictions in the world. This cannot be known, no matter how much different types of law we make. So this is now a law that we make. So one should not have this thing. No matter how much law, paper writing is there, when the mental afflictions is there, the law doesn't help, The laws doesn't help to uproot our mental afflictions. Physically, maybe a little bit limit. It makes a little limit, So we need this wisdom. That's why I mentioned the Buddha's teaching is indispensable to heal the mind. All the minds in the Samsara are wounded. That wounds, the wounds that we are wounded, cannot, because just if we hide underneath, cannot hidden. It will manifest by itself, without choice. So we have our Dharma practice, right from the beginning, we have to start how to purify these mental afflictions. So all the teachings that taught, designed to purify all this. That's why there's called 84,000 of mental afflictions. You see, that how it becomes so many. That's as I mentioned, it's a very complex subject. So Buddha's teachings we need all over the world, not as a Buddhism, but as a special message, a message of wisdom, a message of compassion, how to heal the mind and follow the path step by step. So that is what say. Please protect them. Please protect them. Perfect mother. Now there's so much to talk about, but just briefly touch this verse. And then, fourth, it is difficult to realize one's mind. Some realize but do not practice. Their mind wandered to worldly activities. Please protect them, Deity, Mother of Recollection. See, it's difficult to realize one's mind. Now this, you see, relation to this, now here we have different audience, different people. Maybe some are beginners, but most are who have studied Dharma for many years. So how many of you have received the Mahamudra teachings? How many of you have received the Dzogchen teachings? See, now look at your own mind. Mahamudra Dzogchen supposed to touch your nature of the mind. How many of you have realized? You see, now look at, you see. Just look at, So that's why I say it's difficult to realize. Especially, Mahamudra, Dzogchen are the highest teaching, directly supposed to penetrate your nature of the mind, and you are liberated at that moment. But how many of you are liberated? How many of we are realized? See? So many are interested, I know, so much. All the time they will ask you, can you teach us this Sarahas, Doha, the Mahamudra? Can you teach us the Telobas, Ganges Mahamudra? Can you teach us the three-strike the Dzogchen teachings? Turgel, they teach you all this. And then the teacher will teach all this thing to you. Now, after that, then how much we have realized? Are we better off, or same as before, or worse than before? You see, I'm not being a negative, but I try to be very practical so that we have to look at our own mind, how we can relate. See, how much it takes time. Sometimes we take it as a granted. We don't pay attention how much it requires mindfulness. So it is difficult to realize one's mind. As earlier mentioned, before turning the mind, reflect on the precious human life, and then contemplate on the impermanence and suffering of the samsara, sentient beings, and then reflect on the causality, infallible nature of the causality. First, these four topics are so crucial. Reflecting on this, and you are fully convinced, yes, samsara is not the place to stay all the time. We have to free from samsara. We have to achieve enlightenment. So that kind of thought, that kind of mental attitude is called renunciation. Renunciation doesn't mean don't eat food or wear clothes. Renunciation means interested your liberation, interest to free from samsara. See. Then after that, you see, you are focusing enlightenment, Buddhahood. With that, you see, there's the 5 parts: the part of accumulation, the part of application or preparation, the part of special insight, the part of meditation, and the part of the perfection of the meditation, Buddhahood, you see. So first we have to follow the path of accumulation. See, there, you see, first we have to contemplate on the four mindfulnesses. The mindfulness of the body, feeling, mind, and phenomena. The four mindfulnesses. First, the mindfulness of the body. You see, our body, here what I have. We are cherishing this so much. We attach to this body so much. Isn't it? You see, I want to be good looking. I want to be young looking, healthy. And then I am perceiving as one solid I. No. So when I meditate on this mindfulness of the body, look at this, the body is composed of all dust particles. From skin, flesh, leukemia, bone, marrow, so forth. No? From the top of the head to the tip of the feet. Look at, there's no one solid thing. So look at this called mindfulness of the body. There's no any one solid thing. Because of that, there's no I, self, independent, like independent soul. But because we are so habituated, no, we are so ingrained in the habit of this grasping the soul, self. So I have this. That difficult to delete, purify. Now it doesn't mean there's a level, there's a level of self, or just a label. So everything's a label. Everything's just a notion. No, that we cannot deny. Table, you see, house, tree, all this, everything is a label. So there to communicate, I, you, all this there. But there's no something that exists as I perceive, as I have in my mind that totally entangled. See? So look at this. No, there's no any essence of the body. It's just heap of bones. That's called fast, you see, to release the attachment. No. There's nothing to attach to it. Because we are so attached to our body. To protect this body, then we need all these things to show yourself like a magnificent being. Then we buy the best car, buy the best house, eat the best food, wear the most expensive clothes, to impress others, so others will admire us. No matter how much we do this, look at inside. Mindfulness, so the mindfulness of the body. Then mindfulness of feeling is, I'm not saying everything is a negative feeling. We have good feeling, bad feeling, neutral feeling. But at the end of the day, all come to protect our feeling. We don't want suffering. Because suffering is keep coming, I don't want to feel bad myself. I don't want to feel bad to others. But when you look at things, when you hear the sound, smell, taste, touch the body, when these things happen, there's feeling. There's news goes around that affects our mind. It doesn't feel good. So all this feeling, look at the feelings of the mind. Then the feeling of the mind, you cannot see it. See, mind is just imaginary, but we cannot ignore it. Now, a lot of this nowadays, the scientists, they say brain is the mind, but you see, mind is more than brain. Brain is just one piece of flesh on the head. How much you can think from that brain. Mind is something much bigger than that. So mind is like the space. But you cannot see it. You cannot touch it. The mind, but it is so impermanent, constantly changing, doesn't stay. Look at how impermanence. Oh. Then the mindfulness of phenomena. So all these phenomena are just designated, good or bad, right or wrong. It depends on the individuals who designate that. If somebody says, this is so wonderful, everybody follows, that is wonderful because somebody said so. But another person who is more wise comes there. So this phenomena, this rock is not that important. And then you change that idea. No, see, so all the phenomena there keep changing. It's not there as we perceive. Like, for example, see, in the winter, we have so much snow. No, but now snows are melting, completely different. This all that's just changing. So these phenomena just keep changing. 50, 100 years ago, there's no problem of the climate. But now we have so much climate problems, changing, you see. Because it's impermanent. It's all illusory nature. Now, so they're making a lot of arguments, who made what, see? What's the cause of that problem? So look at this, that's what's called mindfulness. Everything's illusory nature. Everything's just manifestation. So first look at this. So through this, step by step, you go through the path of accumulation. Then next comes the path of application. In the application part, there's a call. Now this all is meditation. You see, you have to go through the meditation practices, step by step. You hear about the emptiness, selflessness, you have meditation, understanding, touching the reality nature. This called heat, pinnacle of the heat, patience of the heat. And then in the Samsara, there's a supreme of the Samsara, of phenomena. So during that, they call faith, diligence, mindfulness, meditative concentration or samadhi, and wisdom awareness. There are 5 of them. Your faith means you have strong inclination towards that direction. no any doubt. With that, then we put the diligence in the practice with joy, feeling of great joy, privilege. With that diligence, one achieves the mindfulness, not forgetting. Because there's mindfulness there, then there is called samadhi, meditative concentration. When the mind is calm and peaceful, then there comes the wisdom awareness. When these are developed step by step, then our mental afflictions are reduced. The power of mental afflictions that what we have are little reduced. See, minimize. That is called the power. After the power comes the strength. Then the practitioner rigorously follow the path. Even though not fully realize the emptiness, but these mental afflictions are so much reduced. They don't have such a strong ability to manifest, taking us to the direction. Right now, it so much depends on our mental afflictions. The mental affliction takes us here, there, everywhere, and we are enslaved by these mental afflictions. So these need to be reduced. So these are how they can reduce by this practice, meditation. Then finally, the third part, special insight. Tonglam is called. Through the, as Shantideva's text mentioned, Bodhidharma Avatara, when you synchronize with the samadhi and critical insight, when they're synchronized, then all the mental afflictions cut from the root. By synchronizing the total karma-abiding samadhi and special insight, then these all mental afflictions are demolished, the strength. Other than that, there's no other way. I can't say, I don't want my anger to come. I cannot say, I don't want my desire to come. They will manifest anyway. But we need such kind of remedy, way how to handle that. So this is the way how to follow. Then we purify. That's why it's difficult to realize, difficult to realize one's mind. So how it is, see. So go through these steps. So we have designed, like say, want to practice, There's want to practice, refuge, vachasattva, mandala, guru yoga, bodhicitta. So follow those, path, step by step. So there are so many books. Last some years, I compiled a book about those. The Diamond Rosary has a lot of information there. So I encourage everyone, read that book, see how much you can get benefit from there. So you see, So that one realizes the mind. But if you ask if that is enough, he says, not enough. You see, no? Some realize but do not practice. See? Sometimes, as I mentioned, some of our great teachers, they give you the teachings of the Mahamudra Dzogchen. First few days, you feel so good. Those teachings so fresh. No? So deepening. Wonderful. But after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, disappear. You see? Because we don't practice, you see. We're carried away by the 8 worldly concerns. Gain, reputation, comfort, praise. We like those things. We don't like to lose. No, disgrace, discomfort, or blame, you know. We're just in between that, you know, struggling how to preserve these 4 positive things, how to get rid of these 4 negative things, just in the samsara. Everywhere in the samsara are within that. So people are suffering from this. That's what's called, you know, see, their mind wanders in worldly activities. That's what it means. We're totally attached to this life, and we're dedicated to achieve all good things that we want in this life. Even sometimes we establish Dharma Center we establish, but also just only for this life, to become famous. No, we're not establishing Dharma Center to free from samsara. We are not establishing to achieve enlightenment. How I can become famous by establishing the Dharma, so everybody will respect me, so that I become rich. So like that, you see, look at this. Even as a measure of some Dharma practices we use only for this life. So there's no Dharma. As you know, the 4 Dharmas of Kampupa, say, if you are fully concentrated on this life, if you practice highest Mahamudra, it's not Dharma. Dharma is to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. Means to purify all our mental delusions, mental confusion. So look at this, and we meditate on this. So, wonder in the activities. So in this, there's a very nice verse by Nagarjuna I have here. No? Here Nagarjuna said, the conventional meaning state, kunzop, the conventional state meaning is come from the mental afflictions and the karma cause. So that cause of the source of suffering, the cause of suffering, the cause is manifest from the mind, means mind, confused mind. Then mind, this samsaric state of the mind, is the collection of the ingrained habitual tendencies, the mental afflictions. All these mental afflictions we are so habituated through hundreds of millions and countless aeons. So we are so deeply habituated. So this all imputed. That's why these mental afflictions manifest effortlessly. Something like very real. No? So look at this, you see. So without the Dharma teachings, in another places if you go, you have to purify these mental afflictions. When you talk about that, they think you are crazy. It's unprecedented. It's not something, that something is not happen. So you have to fulfill the wishes of the mental afflictions. If you talk about how to purify these mental afflictions, desire, attachment, and so forth, they think you are crazy. But if you contemplate enough, meditate enough, step by step, to develop the real compassion, impartial compassion to all, the only way is to purify the mental afflictions. Many teachers will talk about how to meditate, develop compassion, practice of emptiness, practice of interdependence. But there's very little they talk about how to purify these mental afflictions. Sometimes they touch how to free from the aggressiveness, anger, rage. Other than that, they will not touch other subjects, because it's very sensitive, It is, kind of like people don't like, they like to keep these mental afflictions. But at the end of the day, all the sufferings come from that. Usually I say, if I have no attachment, there's no reason to rise anger. The anger is totally dependent on the attachment. See? Without purifying attachment, there's no way to get rid of anger. Maybe a little bit minimize, No, see this beautiful book that I have. If I have so much attachment to this book, then I just all the time I just look at it, back and forth. This is mine. This is mine. This is so important for me. If somebody touches, I would say, don't touch it. Don't touch this book. It's very important. And if somebody takes away, then I will run after that person. So where you are taking my book? Then I'm very angry, upset. But if I don't have attachment to this book at all, people look at it, I say, just look at it. If somebody takes away, yeah, take it, just go away. I have no attachment. So there's no anger to rise. So those years we have to know how to practice the Dharma teachings. Somebody's shooting gun because his desire is not fulfilled. Since his desire is not fulfilled, from there, and say this rage is manifest because his desire is not fulfilled, and he is upset, he is angry. So that you see, you say that mind is the collection of the myriad, the vast habitual tendencies of the mental afflictions. That's the mind. Then when these habitual tendencies, propensities are fully separated or purified, then that's called bliss, happiness. So happiness manifests when these mental afflictions are purified. See? So that's the Dharma study, Dharma practice. We have to focus, So that bliss mind is total peace. He said, Nagarjuna says this, you see. So there's two types of bliss, afflicted bliss and unafflicted bliss. So here's we're talking about unafflicted bliss, the mind free from these mental afflictions. So that unafflicted bliss is the total peace. So that peace, you see, when the mind is total peace, is that then it's free from the delusion. Mind is not deluded. So that undiluted mind can capture the meaning of as it is, the ultimate meaning. See? So when you realize that as it is means uncontrived, unfabricated, as it is, when you realize that, then one achieves the liberation. So this house is so precious, you see, that I'm just now touching to this, when you realize the mind, it's difficult to realize one's own mind. One realizes, some realize, but do not practice. So now we have to know how to practice that. So when you are not, when we don't practice, this means now, that's okay. Now I can go next, touch next one. I should say. Once we realize this mind, as mentioned, with the mindfulness, now continue to practice what you have realized. Then you see that we are not attained Buddhahood yet. So it's called first bhumi you achieved. It's called great joy. The first bhumi is called great joy. That means now you are closer to enlightenment, Buddhahood. you have more ability to help sentient beings, one who has the bodhicitta. So that gives that individual great joy. I'm so happy. Now I'm closer to Buddhahood. Now I have the ability to help all sentient beings. So that's what it's called. The first boom is called great joy. So at that moment, we are not yet still Buddha. Still we have a lot of work to do. Need to purify the left over all the tendencies, the habits. Need to increase, develop the qualities of all the great bodhisattvas and Buddhahood, the Buddha. So from first bhumi towards the enlightenment, Buddhahood, step by step, we have to follow the path. You see? So here this was mentioned, no? Please protect them, Deity, Mother of Recollection. So the Tara is the example of the perfection of the mindfulness. The perfection of the mindfulness achieves when you become Buddha. So I request Tara to help all the practitioners now follow the path towards the enlightenment, step by step, until one becomes the Buddha. So, so we should not be attached to samsara. Then next, what we have is non-dual wisdom is the self-born mind, but the habit of grasping a duality. Some are bound no matter what they do. Please protect them, Deity of non-dual wisdom. Here, non-dual wisdom is the self-born mind in that two aspects, you see. The first is Dhammakaya. Dhammakaya is itself, is non-dual. It's non-dual and is self-born mind. Self-born mind of the is called the unconfined vastness. See, the total freedom, the enlightenment is pervading, no fringes. There's no dualistic state of samsara and nirvana. It's nothing but all pervasive state of the mind. So then this second one is now one who need to realize that. As I earlier mentioned, from first bhumi, then making effort to follow step by step. First bhumi, second bhumi, sanyeba, timameba, stainless bhumi, radiating light, radiant, and difficult to tame, and obvious, six, so like that, Rinpoche far gone, unchanging, or unchangeable, and this good discriminating the nine path, and Sachuba, you see, the 10th is called the Dharma cloud. So these follow these paths step by step. So then at the end of this 10th bhumi, through the Vajra-like meditative state, one attains the Buddhahood. Then that Buddha captures that what reality, nature as it is, the complete, the perfect state of the enlightenment. So, you know, so in this state, you see, it transcends, like we have two truths, relative truth, absolute truth. That's called kunjang, afflicting state, enlightenment. Then the grasping, fixation, and non-dualistic nature of the emptiness and appearance. So all these dualistic states are fully transcended. And that, you see, so that Buddhahood, Dhammakaya, so we cannot verbally can directly say about it because it's beyond our conceptual thoughts, beyond our mental affliction thoughts. It is so subtle that very subtle nature, total subtle nature, cannot put it to the word, so cannot hear it. Sometimes you may hear beyond expression. And that is the ultimate nature. That ultimate nature cannot be perceived by our thoughts. So it is so profound that very profundity nature cannot captured by our worldly samsaric meditation. Only can capture it when one transcends from the 10th bhumi to the Buddhahood. See? So that is called ultimate nirvana. So it's called non-abiding. Neither samsara nor nirvana is non-duality state of the nirvana. No? So that state is self-born mind now. This is what we are talking about. The non-dual wisdom is a self-born mind. It's the profession of these two obscurations. The obscurations of the mental affliction, then obscurations of the knowledge. See? The obscurations of the mental afflictions. So you see, as earlier mentioned, all these different mental afflictions, like say miserliness or attachment, or say attachment, anger, laziness, very distracted mind, and the mind is so smart, but doesn't have the critical wisdom. The mind is so smart, it's restless, no critical wisdom. So these are all called mental afflictions. Then the wisdom of the knowledge means the wisdom that doesn't capture all the understanding of this universe. So these two mental afflictions are purified step by step. From the first to the eighth bhumi, the mental affliction, the gross mental afflictions are purified. From 8th bhumi to the 10th, 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, purify all the subtle obscurations. Then after 10th, one attains the Buddha or Buddhahood, that time purify the obscurations of the knowledge. So that Buddhahood is the total non-dual, self-born wisdom mind. See? So that is what's called, no? Non-dual is this by the habit. So until one achieves that, on the way, like we ordinary mind, and also even on the path, bhumis, first bhumi to 10th bhumi, still there is a habit of the grasping. That's called, the habits of grasping at duality. 8th, 9th, 10th bhumi, even though the Bodhisattva was so advanced, but still there's a habit. There's an obscuration, need to purify the habit of the dualistic until one becomes the Buddha. So when one becomes the Buddha, then total openness. It's the total openness of sphere. As I mentioned, this unconfined vastness. There's no obstruction. So that's as it is, you see. That's right now, our basic nature of the mind is, there's no outside of somewhere, As other dimension, every sentient being has the Buddha nature. That Buddha nature is under our adventitious defilement. So all this, what we're talking about, the path, the bhumis, is the steps we take, purify these mental afflictions. So you see, so what we should know is, see, this Buddha's wisdom, the teachings, right from the beginning, even we as an ordinary person, it gives us opportunity how to touch, relate to our mind and purify. Look at the outside, look at the inside, look at to oneself, look at to others. And then from there we start. Not something like religious belief or some culture, but from the culture of the Samsara, a universal way how to handle things. So we need a kind of skill, way how to communicate with others. Study, practice, follow the path, and how to help others, how to help oneself. See, until to the perfection, until to the Buddhahood. So I hope it makes little sense. Okay. Making some sense? Getting some benefit? I hope you are closer to it's not just written by intellectual. There are some people, writers, they collect a lot of information from there, they write. But this is written from the enlightened Buddhahood state. Okay? So still, I have very little wisdom to communicate. If there are some greater teachers who have highly accomplished, then it's so beautiful, so profound. You see? This is the beauty of these great teachings. Whole Buddha's teaching, hundreds of volumes are contained within this. You know? So now next, I think this sixth one. Although some abide in the perfect meaning, they don't realize the interdependence of cause and result. They are ignorant of meaning of the objects of knowledge. Please protect them, omniscient Deity Mother. Now this is another very profound and very important. See, this, what is perfect meaning? The perfect meaning is, you see, free from a liberation, you know, and total emptiness and free from a liberation. See, so abide means who have that kind of experience, who have that kind of realization. And within that state, one who can abide within that free from a liberation or pervasive emptiness, then there's no dualistic thought, see? That's Ninang, you know? Because all this dualistic experience are within that free from liberation and emptiness. So in that state, some could, as measure, who could abide there, who could meditate there, maintain there, but because of all pervasive emptiness, free from a liberation, then what they perceive is, in that state, there's no causality, there's no virtue, there's no non-virtue, you see. So some individuals said that, not everyone. So that's also incomplete enlightenment. It's saying in the equipoise state, in the equipoise state of the emptiness, see, the samsara is emptiness, the nirvana is emptiness, the virtue is emptiness, the non-virtue is emptiness. So they perceive that, but they don't realize Now, the role of the causality. How causalities are manifest within that emptiness. See, wisdom, very sharp wisdom is needed. So when you study some, like Dzogchen there or Mahamudra, so in that state, there's no virtue and non-virtue. So then we no need to take care of anything, those things. Everything flows. Everything play up this emptiness. There's no virtue and non-virtue. It's very dangerous. If you're not careful, it's very dangerous. Then we create such a chaos. So therefore, we have to follow the path step by step, because one is still not Buddha. If that is the case, when Buddha attained Buddhahood, then he has nothing to say, nothing to teach. He has nothing to teach about the suffering and the cause of suffering. He doesn't have to teach to achieve the cessation and the path to the cessation. But because of Buddha attained the Buddhahood and fully captured this causality, the play of the causality within this emptiness. So how to take care step by step, you see. So everything manifests effortlessly from within emptiness. And their nature itself is emptiness and dissolves into the emptiness. Since we desire to have all the peace and happiness, since we don't desire suffering, so there we have to take care how to free from the cause of suffering. In the name of this high view, emptiness, selflessness, we cannot ignore the causality. The causality manifests distinctively. So, because it is where it is. It's not a belief system. It's not a belief system of certain school. So this school believe this school believe that. That doesn't make sense. Because the Dharmakaya is one. Buddhahood is one. There's no two different Buddhas. Your school Buddha, my school Buddha, their school Buddha. We don't have that. Buddha is the Buddha. Causality is the causality. Fire is hot. We can't say your fire is hotter than mine fire, We can't say your eyes is stronger than our eyes. Oh, in universal truth. So this is a very important point. So once Buddha attained the Buddhahood, until Buddha passed away, Buddha kept such a pure conduct because Buddha had the absolute kind of relaxation. See? So within the illusory nature, we should say Buddha attained the complete perfection of illusory nature. From that illusory nature, Buddha taught all the teachings as an illusion. And then we practice all this within as an illusory nature. avoiding all the cause of suffering, and completing, perfecting all the cause for the enlightenment. You see? So that you see, within that, we should understand, as I just briefly touched, the 12 interdependent link. The 12 interdependent link, see, first, the ignorance. The nature of ignorance is emptiness. But as long as we have not realized its emptiness, the ignorance is there. Our grasping self is there. Now there's one's called the habitual tendency of the self, and one is imputed self or imaginary self. Imputed self, then we believe, we say there's called soul, a divine soul. No, there's a permanent. It's all that is the ruler of the life. It's the basis of all things. So that's called imputed self, you see. Even though it's not there, but we impute, we exaggerate these things. And the other one, the manifestation of our tendency, basically say, nobody talked. We haven't gone to the university how to grasping the self. It's just there. Because through many lifetimes, we are so habituated, self. So self-cherishing, something like exists as it is. Then we say, when I was born child, this is me. Then when I was growing, that's me. Then I went to schools, this is me. When I was young, working, this is me. After I married, this is me. Now I'm getting old, this is me, So we have a continuation of the self there. Something like permanent. That's called our habitual tendency. And how much we went through to protect this self. Lot of suffering there, And through that ignorance, then how much we created karma. Because a lot of mental afflictions manifested. Attachment, anger, aversion, so forth, and all this. There's ignorance, mental formation, it's called next, And that left print in the consciousness. So ignorance, after ignorance, mental formation, creating karma, all this. That mental formation left print on the consciousness. Then that consciousness conceived in the mother's womb. It's called name and form, you see. And then after this name and form, we stay in the mother's womb about 9 months. And then after that, it's growing, the embryo is growing. And there comes, looking at the form, seeing sound, smells, all this. That's called increasing field. The 6 objects and 6 consciousness says increasing field. And after there comes contact. Regba, contact to the form, sound, smell, so forth. Then after that, after you contact the objects, there comes the feeling. See, as I mentioned before, feeling good, not good, or so forth. Then when you feel good, then there comes attachment. I like this, I want this, See, there comes the attachment. Then when you attach to that, there comes craving. You want to have more. You want to contact more. Craving. So through this, we make the karma existence, becoming existence. So how you can become the cause for the next. Then there comes the birth. We are born. The birth is the beginning of our suffering. From there, then comes, you see, aging. See, we start aging. First, you see, when we're born, then we go through first kindergarten, go to school, then you see, after graduating, go for work, making for living, this, then starting aging, getting sick, then finally we die. You see, just start from the ignorance. Then cycles in the samsara. Basically, this all included, this 12, all included into 3 categories. The mental afflictions, and then the karma cause, and the result. You see. So look at this, say how it vicious cycle starts. Like a day and night. When the day breaks, we become busy. No, whole day, at night, we go to sleep. And start again, all again and again. So it's called vicious cycles of the samsara. Look at that. So that, see, this all are play within in the emptiness, but without realizing their nature is emptiness. See. So then, to reverse that, or vice versa. You know, vice versa? What's vice versa? It's opposite, reverse. Okay. Means, as soon as when you realize nature of the emptiness, or as soon as you realize nature of the ignorance, as I mentioned in the Nagarjuna's quotation, as I mentioned, when you realize the collection of the habitual tendency, the nature is nothing but empty, nowhere. So you look at where's your emptiness? No, where's your ignorance? Where's your self? Self is with body, with mind, with the name, investigate that thoroughly, get the sense through the investigation. Then not just investigation, but meditate. Where? Contemplate. The body, as I mentioned, there's no one entity exists independently. It's just illusory nature, like a bubble. When you see the big bubble, it's very big. But if you investigate, there's nothing. There's no any essence, what I'm saying, So body is like that. But we are so crammed on that, we're so entangled. I mean, so like, so it's just such a, this is such an ingrained, sticky, ingrained, like, but through the wisdom, when you look at it, it's just like a mirage. As soon as when you realize that there's no self, something exists independently. As other dimension, I don't know if Alex is here or not, he asked, he asked the self about self, I started saying nose, look at your nose. So nose is very important, you have to make very good shape with nose. But if you look at the skin of the nose, underneath the skin, the nostril, all the investigate, nose is just illusory nature. It's just a manifestation. So look at this. So your ignorance has no place. That's called illusory nature. It's called mirage, rainbow, you see. Then at that, we get to relax. The attachment, the aversion, they dissolve with that. So these three poison, you know, as I mentioned, ignorance, aversion, attachment or desire, they are called three cronies. You know, they are three. They get together. You know, then they are bad friends, but they create such a chaos, samsara, and gives us all the suffering. But as soon as when you have such great insight, meditation, and they have no place to abide. That's why I said they don't exist. That's what's called. When you don't realize, then they are totally powerful. No, we are just under the control of them. And we are just enslaved by them. And we suffer so much, you see. Life after life, life after life. That's why Buddha's teaching is so precious. That's what we need to study. We have to understand. We have to practice Dharma teachings. See? Because of this, not just to pray, chant mantra, you know, and some celebration. They are just culture. Then sometimes you say this prayer is so profound. Yes, it may have a profound meaning, but if you don't have practice, what it can help. So we to free from our delusion, free from suffering. So this is the very critical method, you see. Yes, you know, when you realize the nature of the ignorance as a non-existence, then we don't create, because all these mental afflictions, we realize they are now like a mirage, what exists. Then all the rest is now disintegrates. They cannot function. No? So first we need disinclination. You understand? Disinclination to these ignorance and mental afflictions and samsara. Once we have the disinclination to these, then there's a space to open up, unconfined vastness to realize the nature. Then all the 12 interdependents are in link. They cannot function. So that's called free from samsara. So this is what is important, you see. Now we have the last one. So there's so much now to talk about, relate about, but I have no wisdom to talk so much, and at the same time we don't have time, so it's very good. Now the last one, you see, the nature of space is free from boundary. Nothing is different from that. So that's the Buddhahood now here. Oh, first, no, sorry. Before this, I've not finished, you see. They don't realize interdependence of cause and result. That's what I talked about, you see. They are ignorant of the meaning of object of the knowledge. So they don't realize all the manifestations within in the emptiness, causes of conditions. More you realize emptiness, the more awareness there is of the causality, and more your contact is become pure. It's not so pure because your awareness is very subtle. Especially when you become Buddha, then there's no way you can make mistake. You know everything. Just like look at the Kambupa. After receiving teachings from Milarepa, he attended Buddhahood. And his life was completely pure conduct. And he advised all the followers, keep that kind of conduct. Pure. From the practical point of view, okay. So please protect them, omniscient deity mother. So Tara, who is the profession of the Buddhahood, omniscient, who knows all the true wisdoms, knowing as it is and knowing everything that this true wisdom is abide within one instant, non-duality, no separation. See. Now that's what I'm talking about. The nature of space is free from boundary. Nothing is different from that. So this is a Buddhahood. Now, see, the nature of space is free from boundaries. This is saying now, Buddhahood is like the space. Look at the space. Space has no limit, no fringes, you see. So Buddha is like that. No boundary. Buddha's qualities are limitless, like the space. Even 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva cannot comprehend Buddha's excellent qualities, the wisdom, compassion. Until one becomes the Buddha, even the Manjushri Bodhisattva cannot comprehend Buddha's quality. See? So that's what it's talking about. So nothing is different from that. Oh, so you see, because of space, just example, because of space, all these planets, galaxies, stars, manifest from the space, dissolves into the space. There's no limit. So, so likewise, Buddha's wisdom. If Buddha talks about the Buddha for eons and eons and eons, will never comprehend, or will never end, should say, will never finish, because limitless, countless. So that's what's called unfathomable enlightenment, Buddhahood. So that's what we're talking about, you see. So from that, Buddha taught this all teachings, you see. So we should not treat Buddha's teaching as a one religion. If we treat that, it's very limited. Buddha's teaching is beyond our comprehension, beyond the limit. It contains everything. Because Buddha's wisdom reaches to all sentient beings. Buddha's compassion reaches to all sentient beings. So therefore, we need to cultivate such a great loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta to all the sentient beings, to give that kind of message to sentient beings, so that sentient beings can free from suffering, delusion. So that's the Buddhahood, you see. So still practitioners and disciples don't realize this. Please protect them. Perfect Buddha matter, you see. Now here comes. Now we followers, onto the path. Some are interested. Some are in the path of accumulation, preparation. Some are in the path of special insight. Some are part in the, meditation, in the 10 bhumis. Still they are not Buddha. So the Buddha matter, the Tara. This Tara is not just one deity, you see. It's the complete perfection of the Buddha's wisdom, who gives the birth of all the Buddha, who cares all the sentient beings. And that Tara is within us, not somewhere else. We should realize about that. So we should aware that. Just meditate, Tara is within me. So we should not misbehave ourselves in front of Tara, which is within us. So, so we all practitioners. Therefore, Tara's manifestations are countless. So there's a physical Tara, has a long history, as mentioned. It's not a mythology. It's not something like you say, oh, there was called Tara, this and that. It's not that. Tara has a complete long history. First, how Tara became to be Tara. And then from that, how Tara followed the path and how Tara attained the Buddhahood. All this steps, So that's why when Lord Jigte Sungkun attained the Buddhahood, the 7 Tara just manifest in front of him because he perfected the perfection of the Buddha's wisdom. As a symbol of the perfection of his wisdom, Tara manifested as a wisdom. And then all those teachings that Buddha taught, they just, they manifested those all teachings. So from that, Jigte Sungkun composed or said this song about Tara as a perfection of the Buddha's wisdom. So it's so precious. So when you practice Tara, we practice like that way. As I mentioned, we always have to focus how to purify our mental afflictions. Not just guess, by chanting mantra, I hope my afflictions will disappear, they'll go away, I practice this, then my obstacles will be taken care of. That's very limited way of practicing. We have to now pinpoint our mental afflictions, purify. We expect obstacle will come, but we have to know how to comprehend obstacles, how to take care of the obstacles. When we know how to take care of the obstacles, then it's called we're free from the obstacle, you see. It doesn't mean obstacle doesn't come, Obstacle will come, day after day, year after year, life after life, until we become Buddha. but we know how to take care of the obstacles. Then we can say we're free from the obstacles. See, that's how to practice the Dharma. So I hope everybody got some message and got little help from this Dharma teaching. And any questions you have? Well,
Rinpoche, can I ask?
yes, now to change this. No. Not my picture.
Oh, you want to see everybody?
Everybody, yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Anita. Okay.
I sometimes wonder if there are really 7 Taras or just 7 supplications to Tara. I mean, you've mentioned that the 7 verses relate to the afflictions. And of course, she represents absolute wisdom. And she can manifest any way she wants. So can you just say what you think, what you believe from this prayer?
First, you see, you know what Tara? Why Tara? How many eyes she has? You see, yeah, you see? You got it? Okay. The 7 great wisdom, which transforms the 7 mental afflictions, which transforms the 7 woe. So it's very comprehensive through these 7 verses. Okay. You are a little enlightened now. Yeah, Kevin, what do you have?
So my question is a technical one, and I hope it's beneficial for someone other than myself. It's concerning the translation. In your translation, all 7 Taras have a reference to mother, with the exception of non-dual, which makes sense to me because to say mother would be a duality. But I've seen other translations, and someone shared it here today, where in that particular section, in that particular section, they refer to her as goddess of non-dual wisdom. So I wonder, my question to you is, and this is where it's a technical, but it seems to make sense in a subtle nature that it would not be translated as goddess or mother, that it would remain non-dual deity. So is that a mistranslation?
You see, there can a lot of improvement in the translations. Okay, so don't attach to the translations. What important is mother. It's not a dualistic way. Of course, if you don't understand, it's dualistic, mother, father, you know. But here, mother means, as earlier mentioned, it's basically referred not a personal, physical mother. It's called wisdom mother, which gives birth all the enlightenment. When you get some meaning, understanding, oh, it makes sense. So that gives you a wisdom, give birth a wisdom that allow you to see that. That's the mother. Okay?
All righty, thank you.
Okay, so as I mentioned, you just focus, not some technical things, but focus on how to purify mental afflictions. That's very important. What kind of problem I have? Attachment, anger, aversion. I need to purify them, you know, instead of say, looking all the details of technical things. They are good, of course, it is very important. But most important is to purify our mental afflictions.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Any clarifications needed? Kevin McDermott.
Khenchen.
Can we make a question?
Yes, from Valparaiso, yes.
Yes, we want to know this practice that you have taught to us. is can we make it as practice alone, or should we practice anything else like Chenrezig or something else, and in the end or at the end, could this practice too?
This practice itself has a complete meaning, as you see. It is very comprehensive practice. You see, all the relative state, absolute states, everything are there. You see, so you can practice this. Then, of course, if you like to practice Chenrezig or anything, you practice. Doesn't matter. Whatever gives you great comfort. And then from there, you just go ahead, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi.
Yes,
Tashitele,
Julian.
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you to repeat, please, the three cronies. I really like that.
Three cronies is ignorance.
Ignorance.
And aversion.
What was that? Aversion?
Aversion, anger.
Anger. Okay.
And then attachment.
Oh my God. They are the three cronies.
This is the three cronies.
And they attach onto our ego.
Yeah, that's on. Oh, yes, it attached to ego. Yes.
Oh my God. And then how do we release? Oh, anyway, I was going to say, how do we release that from the ego?
Just ego, where's the ego exist, as I mentioned. You just investigate where's the ego exist, you know?
Right.
Where's the ego is the illusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there you release, okay?
Okay. Now going out of myself, I wanted to see if I approach someone outside, let's say I'm working with people. Well, you know, I work with people because I'm a teacher, but when this comes up with them, how do I just help them dissolve it without being preachy? Because I cannot be preachy. No. And people don't. Oh.
Yes, okay.
So how does one help another person dissolve their ego?
Now, first we say generally, the word you start with your skill, Say, we all should practice love, compassion, like this. And then slowly, everyone desire for peace and happiness,
Yeah.
Everyone desires to free from suffering, like that, Then slowly, you have to slow down your ego, your attachment, your anger, like that, slowly,
Because they don't understand this kind of language. That's what I'm trying to say.
They don't understand. That's why I said, mention slowly, you see.
Yeah.
You can't throw all this,
So probably I would have to identify how to change their ego. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. First, you should say your own experience. You see,
Okay.
I slow down. You can say first. I used to have such a strong ego.
Okay.
So me, But then I realized that's not so wise. How I slow down my ego. I reduce my ego slowly. Then I got such a benefit. You just say from there. Then there's people can get it, you see.
Okay.
Yeah. So as your teacher, you have a good experience, you see.
How much? Too much experience.
Okay, yes.
I live in a war zone.
Yes. We have Samsara is war zone,
Yeah.
The Samsara is war zone.
Rinpoche, I have a question.
Yes, you have a lot of questions, yes.
Something came up. If it seems to me that if we kind of slow down in life, kind of in a lower gear, not so distracted, not so busy, we still have to take care of responsibilities, but in our off time, we can meditate and read and so forth. It
Yes.
seems to be a more satisfying way of life.
Exactly.
Down.
That's exactly, yes. You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, I have a question.
Okay. Sasha, yes.
Okay, so when you talk about taming, okay, when we talk about taming our minds, we're talking about taming our ego.
Yes.
Okay, and then our mind, what are the components of our mind? There's the ego, but there's probably like our higher self.
No, a component of the mind is not the ego.
Oh.
Mind is that it's the, as I mentioned, collection of all the mental habit, habitual tendencies. You have lot of habitual tendencies. I like this, I don't like this, this is the way I like, this is not the way I like. One day you like it, next day you don't like it, you know. You see, there's so much drama playing, you know. So all those dramas we just play in the samsara, life after life, life after life. So that collection of that is called samsaric mind.
Oh, okay.
Not the enlightened mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then when you realize these all drama are nothing but play of the ignorance, then there comes your enlightened mind. Then you can become free from all those drama. Yes, Pema.
Khenchen, in listening to you, one could almost think it's better off to just sit on the cushion until we're enlightened.
That's right.
Before we go and teach anything. But I have this job, volunteer job, teaching meditation at a maximum security prison. And I have to say that even though I'm so far from enlightened, talking about the Four Noble Truths and talking about the 6 paramitas has helped these guys so much that I'm a little confused. Maybe you could clarify. I think,
yeah.
You know.
No, you can share those things, but don't trap your ego there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Out of wisdom, out of compassion, not out of ego.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, you take it. No?
Khenchen La.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, speak. Yeah. Yes, Nelly. It's Nelly? Yes.
I thought Nikki wanted to talk.
Marty, yes, yes.
That's okay. You go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Khenchen La,
Yes.
you mentioned that there was a danger, some kind of danger when you study and practice the Mahamudra and the Dzogchen. And I'm wondering about what you meant by that. And if one is resting in, after a practice, and is resting in the nature of mind and actually accesses that space, that Dharmakaya space, or at least a facsimile of it, isn't that a healthy thing?
It is,
you know, because then that...
It is very healthy thing. But according to here, some, you see, some abide in the Mahamudra state, but they discourage the causality, you know. You understand? You see?
You mean they deny the truth of causality?
Yeah, there's within in the Mahamudra, there's no causality.
Oh, okay.
You see, the causalities are empty, you know. And then they misbehave, you see, because we are not enlightened yet. Then our mind becomes gross mind, you know. That's physical danger. But it's it is perfectly right to abide, meditate in that state, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't hesitate to stay there.
Thank you.
Don't say, this is danger. Oh, I cannot stay. You know, don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is perfectly right. You just abide there as long as you can.
Because it doesn't last anyway.
But if we ignore virtue and non-virtue in the name of the Mahamudra or Dzogchen, you know, then that is dangerous.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Khenchen, one more question. Is the mic on? Oh, okay. So when you say the enlightened mind, is the enlightened mind already enlightened? Or is that something we have to attain? I'm thinking it's more like the sun is there, and that's just a metaphor, you know, that the sun is there, it's always there, and that's our enlightened mind. We're already enlightened, except we got all these obscurations, and we just don't know that the sun is there.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Your nature of the mind, like the sun is there, enlightened. Your nature of the mind is enlightened, like the sun is there. But when the sun is over clouded, you cannot see the sun. So likewise, our nature of the mind is clouded by the adventitious defilement.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to take care of that. When you uncover all this adventitious defilement, then you can see the sun is there. No, your enlightened mind is just there. No need to kind of look for something else. You know, that's why every sentient being is the nature of the. Every sentient being has the nature of the Buddha. What does that mean about that? So that's why you have to practice with confidence, with joy, with a great devotion to Buddha.
So is it safe?
Yes, Julie.
Is it safely to say that the enlightened mind is innate? We're born with it, or
Yes, it's innate.
it is innate.
It is innate. Like say, the butter is within the milk.
Yeah.
You see, we don't have to create butters. No, we don't have to create the butter from somewhere else.
Right.
When you know there's butter in the milk, you know, then see, we have to know how to chant and produce the butter. Understand? Without working how to produce the butter from the milk, you can't expect butter will come from the milk. Okay? You see, you have to first know there's a butter in the milk. Then you have to work how to produce the butter. Okay? So Buddha nature is within you, but you cannot expect they will come out. Or you cannot say, I'm Buddha because I'm Buddha nature. You cannot say that because we are still samsaric beings. We have a lot of mental afflictions. So we have to take care of those things. Okay, that's the one now, how to practice Dharma. Yeah, Nikki, yes, Nikki.
Yes, I hope this is not a selfish question, and I hope it can help others.
You can ask anything, selfish or not selfish.
Okay. one of the things that causes some resistance in me to practice, particularly going into retreat of several days in my home, is I start to feel lonely and isolated, and it almost feels like a punishment to go into retreat. And I could just use some suggestions about how to overcome that emotional response of loneliness when I'm not allowing myself to be distracted by the outside world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Yes, very good. That shows you are doing some retreat, and you are, it's wonderful. That's showing now you are sharing your experience. That's wonderful. That's how I say. First, we have to sit, meditate, and then things what happens. Then we know how to overcome. Slowly, not all at one time. So I'm so glad you have shared this. Yes.
So just push through it. Just ignore the loneliness and
not just push. Just you see, this is my habit in the society. I used to be so distracted everywhere. Go, bring friends, talk with friends, all that. Now when I sit there, I'm so distracted. Then I feel so lonely. So now I recognize. You see. So now this opportunity, I'm so happy. Now I got this message. So now you contemplate on the impermanence. So there's sometimes, I have a Buddha nature within me, Then out there, everyone is suffering, So all my friends, they are suffering and I'm suffering, You see. So why I should be so conscious, I feel lonely, Now I have to practice here Dharma, bodhicitta. Everything is in the nature of the illusory nature. You see, like these things, you make your mind instead of narrow. You have to expand your mind. You see, you expand your mind as a space. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. All sentient beings around, surrounded me. So it's like Milarepa, his whole life in the mountain, he didn't feel lonely,
It's an opportunity to build bodhicitta for other people and their loneliness.
Exactly.
Okay.
There are so many people in the society, but they feel so lonely because they feel everybody's neglected them.
Yes.
So you develop such a bodhicitta, compassion to those. And so I'm so fortunate I have this opportunity.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm so happy you asked that question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Khenchen, I have a question. May I?
Anila, yes.
As meditation goes on and it develops a little bit, the emotions become more subtle. The thought processes become a little bit more subtle, and there is increased energy. So it's very difficult to stay tuned in and work with the subtleties. What are your suggestions?
My suggestion is, as a Dharma practitioner, not just, you have been practicing Dharma for quite a few years. And so my suggestion is reflecting everything is illusory nature. Everything is illusory nature. Everything just manifests. And there is in the impermanence. They come and go, and it's like the waves, ocean, like cloud in the sky. And then from there, you develop bodhicitta to all the sentient beings who don't have this kind of opportunity, no? And then you just see, say, all this manifestation as an emptiness, but within emptiness manifests all this. There's no separation. So those things you can practice.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Okay, no problem. No problema. Yeah, yes. Hello.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Yes, Clara. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
so happy you are here.
It is always such a blessing to listen to your teachings.
Yeah, yes.
And you are a great master. Yes,
thank you
you
so
are a
much.
great master.
I don't know how I great. I'm great.
You are. You're humble, but you're great. Thank you so much.
I'm a so great illusory master.
Okay, yeah, it could be illusory. Your outside is illusory, but your inside, no. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you next Saturday. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you
Bye.
next time. Yes, yes.
Next time.
Clara, okay.
Is anyone have a question? If no more, we do dedicate.
Yes, we dedicate. Yes, Devi, wonderful.
Oh.
Yeah, we should say the dedication prayer. Yes.
Should I do it or someone else wants to?
I think Tao's group is going to do something special.
Doesn't matter. Just do someone else. Anyone who can do this, okay.
Okay, Mikura, you can do the dedicate.
Okay.
Yellow book, page 9.
Okay. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assemblies of Idams and assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions. Please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the birth.
Excellent. Your dedication prayer, you can add before that one more, you see. You just repeated glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root, and lineage lamas, divine assemblies, Idams, Idam deities, and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions. Please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in the Samsara and Nirvana, and the innate root of virtue, not result in 8 worldly concern, 4 causes of Samsara, or rebirth as a Sharavaka and particular Buddha, may all sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstacles who harm, misleading Maras, and the hordes of the demons experience happiness, be separate from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Buddhahood. So you should add this just before, okay? And then after that, you can follow by the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all sentient beings. So if you add this first paragraph, and that will be a complete dedication prayer. Okay? Wonderful. I'm so happy you did this dedication prayer.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Qué bueno.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yes. You're welcome.
Gracias. Thank you so much,
Rinpoche.
Rinpoche. Thank you very much for the amazing teaching.
Okay, take care.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you. It's very
See you
beneficial.
next week, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
And thanks everyone joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thanks, Linda, to
Thank
and Pauline to help.
Thank you,
Thanks
Khenchen.
all the translators.
I was listening to you and watching you while I was walking on the beach, looking out over the vast San Francisco Bay this morning and the endless sky. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful.
It's a great teaching.
Okay, take care. Steve and Jenny from Malaysia, take care.
Yeah, take care, Rinpoche. Thank you for unpack the knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yes.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yes, please take care.
Thank
Yes.
you, Rinpoche.
Okay.
Boundless
Muchas
love,
gracias, Rinpoche.
boundless
Yes.
space.